Yo, yo, yo. What's up, guys? Hope you guys are all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. Bitcoin is still hovering just above 100K and looking bullish, of course. Above this region here is bullish, of course, the 100K over there looking good. It's nice to see Bitcoin at 6 figures and holding the range. What you've probably noticed now is there's a bit of a range between that 105K and this bottom level over here at about 101K. And I'm expecting Bitcoin just to chop around in the zone, of course. CPI yesterday, PPI tomorrow. So we do have some news events, of course. And what's interesting to note is that, let me just change this quickly. The majority of the players are flipping short on Bitcoin, which is pretty crazy. But fair enough. You know, it's good to hedge your portfolio, I suppose. But I am expecting this to maybe flip green. If we go to the high block capital liquidity at that 90 odd K zone over there, a little bit of liquidity just below 100K on the shorter term time frames, and on the lower term time frame, you know, a little bit of liquidity up and down, but nothing major over here, guys. So just watch out for this over here. If we do start to lose that 100K zone, I think we could get a little sweep. So this is telling me that we are going to get a little sweep over here. So that's that 100K or that 99.9 over there. And if you zoom in over here, the 99.9 will just be basically a sweep of that last low that we did see, I think, on Monday. So watch out for that. I think we could get a sweep of these lows if we do go onto something like the hourly time frame over here. That would be basically taking the liquidity here. Everyone that went long over here would have their stops over there, so this may be swept. But for now, Bitcoin's looking good. This was a high probability bounce zone, of course. But let's go back to the daily time frame. So Bitcoin, I think we could come down to this green box again. I think that will be, you know, expected, of course. And if we take out the Fibonacci, if this is the top, then you'd be looking for these levels over here. So let me just reverse this quickly. So this would be the ultimate level. So basically, if this is the top and Bitcoin is going to correct a bit, you would be waiting for the 382 at 94K over here, or you'd be waiting for the 50% level at 90K. So these are the important levels. And of course, if Bitcoin just keeps going up and up and up, then we just keep extending the Fibonacci, and those are the important levels. But so if the stop is in at about 105.8, then, you know, you can expect 98 to potentially be, 93 to potentially be tested. And that lines up, you know, with the zone over here, of course. But let's wait and see, guys. We still have to lose the 100K region before we go there. But for now, the benefit of the doubt, you know, bulls do have the benefit of the doubt for sure. RSI sitting in this green zone. And we know that when we get into the green zone, it's normally the start of the move. So over here, you saw we got into the green zone on the RSI, and we got into the move. Over here, we got into the green zone of the RSI, and it just got started, guys. Green zone RSI, and we just got started. So we're definitely expecting that we have just gotten started here. And, you know, a lot of people are unsure. There's a lot of uncertainty at the moment. So yeah, definitely watch out for like a potential pullback. I'll show you what I'm seeing on the charts. I am seeing a little bit of a pullback in the crypto market. I'll tell you why. USDT dominance. So basically, this has come down perfectly to this target over here. As soon as we lost this level over here, we said that this was the high probability zone to see USDT dominance, because this was a zone that, you know, is often visited over here. You can see big support resistance over here, the zone right over here, and we are getting support over here. You can see we are building some potential bullish divergence over there, and we have created a massive fair value gap. So what's a fair value gap? Well, a fair value gap is when you get multiple days down in a row and you get left with one big candle when there are no wicks on the previous candles coming into that body. So you can see over here, huge candle to the downside, and there's no wicks that have tested this zone over here. So this creates a fair value gap, guys. So watch out for this fair value gap. They often get filled. So I'm most likely going to be looking for longs if we do fill the fair value gap. I think that's the high probability trade, guys. Something like that, high probability trade. We can wait for the EMAs to catch up and push price down. So obviously the 200-day EMA is on its way down, and then we'll also see the 50-day EMA come there. Give us that death cross for the USDT dominance, something like that. And normally when you do get a death cross, you do expect the price comes into it. So you might see a little push into the death cross before getting that move down. And this all makes sense, guys. A little pullback now. I think all the players that got in on these late longs will most likely get flushed out. But this is where I am going to be loading up on my longs, guys. I have closed the majority of my longs. You know, I obviously have to take some profits, take some chips off the table, of course. It makes the most sense. But the reason why I'm looking at altcoins and not Bitcoin for this next long is because of Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance has broken down of this uptrend over here. See uptrend over here, broke down. So this means that we are potentially shifting trend. Okay, so as soon as we broke down and closed below the 50-day EMA, we said that, okay, well, this is the target. The target is going to be the 200-day EMA. Okay. We're not there yet, and as you can see, we are just making lower lows and lower highs every single day. Okay, over here, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low. You guys get the point. There's nothing bullish about lower lows. Okay, bearish market structure. So, you know, for my bias to change, you know, we're going to have to start taking our highs of the previous day. And of course, you know, if we look left, we are coming into this kind of zone over here, which could be a, you know, horizontal SR flip. This is where you would expect Bitcoin dominance to get a bounce. So let's see what happens, guys. Let's see what happens. If we do lose this level, it will look like a good-looking deviation, of course. You know, deviate back into the zone over here. And then you can expect at least the 200-day EMA to be tested and the 50% level. So the big altcoin gains will come, of course, when we do get underneath the 50% level and the 200-day EMA. This is when it'll most likely start going parabolic for altcoins, of course. So just looking at this chart and looking at the USDT dominance, I am seeing this come up before going down, and Bitcoin dominance, I am seeing this with a bearish bias. So what that tells me is that I think there's going to be a market pullback, and I think altcoins are going to be favored. So this is what I'm looking for. Now, which altcoins am I going to be targeting? So Ethereum has some good levels. I think, you know, it's obviously broken above the 200-day EMA, and it has tested the 200-day EMA nicely as support over there for a few candles over there. But it has just hit our TP for our long, and our TP was the 50% level, okay? 50% level from the cycle highs over there to that recent low that we saw now. That halfway point comes in at 2,750. Obviously, the region, I'm not sure if it hit the exact dollar, but that zone over there is where you would most likely get a rejection from. Okay, so I have closed my ETH trade because we are going straight into resistance. It makes no sense to not close the trade at resistance. Okay. So we've closed the trade at resistance, and I do think that we can come down and test these levels. I'm not sure how low we go, but I've personally got a massive ETH buy order at 2,150. It's obviously quite low, below price, you know, 17% to the downside, which, you know, it could hurt people. But I do see this as the high probability trade, guys. This is the high probability zone where you should get a bounce, and then I'm going to be targeting that 4K region for Ethereum. So watch out, guys. Definitely watch out for potential lower levels. So look at XRP. XRP is playing out beautifully. Over here, we went long over here. I did close this trade going into this resistance. We are now above that zone over there. And what I wanted to see from XRP was multiple days closed above the 50% level, which is currently happening now. It's obviously fighting. But, you know, when you get above the 50% level on the daily time frame, what you expect is the next move to go to all-time highs. So basically, it's in the stronger half. It's showing strength, and XRP is most likely making its way back up to that $3.40 region. Okay. Total crypto market. So these are the trade ideas that I'm looking for. Either we're going to hold the zone over here, quite strong. You see this massive support and resistance zone. We're going to hold the zone over here, coming down to that $3.2 trillion region, or get that move down to 3 trillion. So this move down to 3 trillion is, in my opinion, the best bet and the biggest opportunity that you will get in this crypto run for the rest of the year. So if price does come to the $3 trillion region, you guys should definitely be going long. Stops would go underneath these important EMAs over there, and that's coming at about 2.75 trillion. If we go below 2.75 trillion, that is the invalidation zone, and we are targeting $5 trillion as our target. So guys, $3 trillion, I mean, if you dollar cost average now, it's not a bad idea either. So that's for a risk to reward of 4 to 1. But this is the zone that you want to be accumulating crypto, in my opinion. If we do come back into the zone over here, we have tested it twice. It is looking strong. But basically what you want to be doing is getting long in this zone over here. Obviously your triangle kind of formation for bidding, what does that mean? Well, you're getting small entries now, you know, and then as we go lower and lower, our entries getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, so this is what we want to be doing. Little triangle entry like that should give us an average entry of around 3.1 trillion. Stops over here. If price comes below the EMAs, I don't want to be involved. Of course not, guys. It's going to be looking quite ugly, and there are definitely price targets to the downside. But remember, our target is $5 trillion. So that is where we want to be exiting our position. So this gives us a risk reward of like between 8 and like 7. Between like 5 and 10 to 1, even depending on how good your entry is. So this is what I'd be looking out for, guys. So definitely watch out these next few weeks. If we do get a pullback, this is going to be an absolute buy zone over here. Obviously, don't go all in because there is a risk that it does come to the downside. But this is the trade we've been waiting for, guys. I've been patiently waiting for this potential setup since April, since March, since Feb. I said once we reclaim $3 trillion and test it as support, this is the go zone. So patiently waiting for this to happen. Are we going to get the pullback? Are we not? I don't know. I am obviously exposed on the spot side, but I do think a nice leverage long from 3 trillion will be printing gains going into the end of the year, guys. So this is what I'm going to be waiting for before I start looking at altcoin trade setups. Obviously, my title today is altcoin trade setups, and there are some obvious ones that I'm looking at. Ondo, a little bit of a rejection today, but this is hovering nicely above the 200-day EMA. I'm already in my Ondo trade. This is a trade that I have not closed yet because this is a long-term swing trade, guys. I'm targeting that $3 region for Ondo over there, and I am in this trade. I got in at about 90 cents around there. And this is a good trade, guys. We're starting to form, as you can see here, we are forming bullish market structure. Okay, bang, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So you do expect higher high and higher low market structure to play out here. So definitely watch out for Ondo. This is most likely going to be your zone where you do get that higher low, guys. Definitely mark this off on your list. And this is one of those trades that we're going to be going in big when we do that $3 trillion retest. I mean, even if you went long on Ondo right now with your invalidation, you know, you're very conservative. So we're going to put our stop loss at around 66 cents. And if we do target $3 trillion, $3 for Ondo, this gives us a risk reward of 5 to 1. This is the kind of trade that we want to be taking, guys. 5 to 1 risk to reward trade. Obviously, massive speculation and potential for Ondo RWA as a narrative, of course. So Ondo setup, guys, mark this on your list. I'm sure you guys are all long on Ondo because I've been speaking about Ondo since we broke this downtrend over here. And I got in at about, between 90 and 80 odd cents over here. This is when I went long on Ondo because, you know, when we do break a downsloping resistance like that, you do see a trend shift. It just takes time, guys. So obviously very conservative trade over there. But max long, guys. This is easy long. You can shave some profits at $1.40. I'm extremely certain that we will see $1.40 before 66 cents. So, you know, take that as you much, take that as you will. Okay, what else is looking good? So SUI also looking good. I spoke about SUI though. I said that SUI buy zone is a retest of $3.56. So definitely wait a little bit for this one. If you can somehow get into the SUI trade between $3.56 and like $3, this is your buy zone, guys. Huge zone. You can put your stop loss over here. I'd say maybe you come and retest this. Unlikely, in my opinion. I'm pretty sure this will hold. And if it doesn't hold, it'll most likely just be a quick wick before we keep going, guys. And remember that SUI is in bullish market structure. It does just go higher highs, higher lows. So definitely assume that it's going to be a higher high and higher low. So $3.50 is a massive buy zone for SUI. And your trade can look something like this even. You can go long from there, stops underneath the wick over there, and then targeting our target of $7.50. So that's for SUI. Of course, I'd be looking out for that one. But the ultimate trade is going to be waiting for $3 trillion. $3 trillion or $3.2 trillion. Definitely mark these levels off and look for your favorite altcoins and go from there. So that's what I'm doing at the moment, guys. I am sitting on my hands for now. No trades today. And if we do come into this absolute opportunity pocket over here, I would be going very long in the zone over here. So guys, definitely do that. I will obviously be updating you guys as we go. But yeah, stay safe, trade smart, and we'll see you guys later this week for hopefully some longs if we do visit that region. Sweet, guys.